So what's going on, guys? My name's Violent. Welcome to GRIZZ Zombies. World War II Nazi zombies is now confirmed. It's a thing. They're going into direct competition with Treyarch, and I like it. The campaign's going to be sweet. There's going to be definitely an emotional journey that we go on here with these characters, and I couldn't be more excited. Let's see what Sledgehammer had to say about zombies.
Yeah, you know, our third mode is it's an entirely new story, and it's a pretty horrifying experience, sort of like your office. You know, for Michael and I, it's our first horror game in years, and we're really, really psyched about it. It's the story of the Third Reich's desperate attempt to create an army in the final stages of the war. We can't wait to share more. In fact, should we show a little something? Just a little tiny little peek.
As most of you guys probably know, in 1945, the fall of Berlin took place. This was a pinnacle point in World War II where the Allied forces and the Soviet forces began to surround the German army in Berlin. There's a building located there called the Reichstag, a building which represented the Third Reich. Glenn Schofield, who was just describing the zombies mode, stated that in Germany's last efforts to secure the war, they created the zombie army. It is my belief and understanding that the fall of Berlin will play a pinnacle point during this time period and in our new zombie storyline. That is subject to change, but for what we do know is the description of this high-octane cooperative is that Call of Duty World at War cooperative mode unleashes a new and original story. Play with your friends in this next-level standalone game experience full of unexpected, adrenaline-pumped moments. That is what we truly know, but if this is going to be the Germans' last efforts to secure the war, the fall of Berlin will in fact take place, so I'm very excited to see where they go with that. Okay, so now we know that the leak that we heard previously with Cameron Dayton on Twitter, that the Zombies mode is now confirmed. So he did leak that, and that is confirmed information, so we guessed right out there in the community. So good job to you guys out there who helped us discover that. Now, more on that video will be linked in the description box below. It tells you about E3 and all the dates that's going to happen with E3. So if E3 is something that you guys are interested in knowing about happening in June, I'll link that in the description box below. Go check that out. But guys, to be real here, just to talk off the cuff, I do think Nazi Zombies Original's intention, with Treyarch anyway, was to have a bloody, gory, dark experience. They've kind of strayed away from that and went more into the fantasy realm, where these apothecon figures, aka aliens, are in the mix, and I don't really like that fantasy aspect. I want the more gritty, dirty feel, so I feel with the fall of the Reich, the Third Reich, we will have more of a Nazi zombie experience here, and they are saying that it's going to be Nazi zombies. So I'm very excited about that idea. I've been playing zombies for a long time, and I still do every single day to make videos for you guys, but when I first fell in love with this Noctur Untoten back in the Dizzy, it was all about the Nazi mystery happening in the outer world and why these zombies were coming in. That's what we're trying to figure out, this greater mystery. This scientist came into the mix known as Edward Richthofen, and part of the great mystery with this is that he was discovering powers out there and the only one that could harness it, and he was the only one who could understand it. So us having that mysterious element really drove the narrative to a point where the darker you made it and the more realistic you made this experience, it was successful in our heads. We loved it and we wanted it to continue. And that's what we loved about the old style of zombies. And that's what I think we're going to get in the upcoming future. We're going back to World War II, and some of the points that I didn't make earlier in the video are that as the fall of Berlin was happening, there were other points leading up to this that were also very good points in history they could visit to start the process of these zombies maps. So
for Michael and I, it's our first horror game in years, and we're really, really psyched about it. It's the story of the Third Reich's desperate attempt to create an army in the final stages of the war.
And if the Germans do have success, how does that continue on in the war? Do the Germans become more and more successful with the zombie outbreak? These are questions that I think will drive the narrative. Where my mind starts turning when I think about how the outbreak occurred, it gets to a really crazy point where I'm thinking there's all-out war happening and the Germans are being backed up to a point in Berlin where they don't have any other option. They got to release the horde. And when they do that, the Soviets and everybody start becoming overwhelmed with the zombie horde. But how do they control these zombies? There are questions that I have with control. We had these same questions in Black Ops all the way to Black Ops 3. So we kind of just got to feel it out, let the narrative play as we go through it, and we'll figure that out as we get to it. The gameplay that you're seeing now is the very first new title, I guess, that Sledgehammer put out a few years ago called Exo Zombies. This was with Advanced Warfare, and a lot of people didn't like this mode. Actually, this mode was perceived very badly, but for the community that stuck through it, found out that the Easter eggs were actually very challenging. It took quite a bit of skill to actually complete these Easter eggs. It was actually a mode I learned to really like towards the end of the DLC season. A pretty common question that's out there is, will this Zombies mode be better than Treyarch, and do you believe that it will be? My own personal opinion on this is very simple. Exo Zombies is nothing compared to what Treyarch Zombies was. Now that we've seen this image of a zombie, it's showing a lot of promise. But they got a lot of making up to do right now in order to show that they are a complete competitor to Treyarch. Treyarch has set the staple for what zombies should be. And not only is it not perfect, but it's in the step of the right direction. And that's what we want, is a step in the right direction. And we think that with the new looting system, that's the big worry coming into World War II here. Is it going to be like Modern Warfare Remastered? A lot of people think that the looting system in that game was a lot more correct than what we're seeing today in Infinite Warfare. Now, I'm one of the very few guys on YouTube who does in-depth videos on patch notes, and from what I've seen, Infinite Warfare has done some crazy stuff to their supply drop system. Right away, when the game was released, about 2 months in, they released 600 supply drops, and you can't just do that to your system. I mean, it makes it so saturated that you can't get what you want at all, and you can keep adding more and more into it, making your chances lower than they were when it originally started. Now, this isn't just talking slander on the game. I actually do like Infinite Warfare Zombies, not the multiplayer. That stuff's junk. But the Zombies is actually pretty good, especially with the latest map. But what I'm seeing with the supply drop system is not fair, and I can call that out just because it's how I'm feeling, and I know a lot of you guys out there are feeling the same way. And we could sit here and praise Black Ops 3 all day, but that Gobblegum system was rigged too. I can give them a little bit of shit for that as well. I wasn't exactly happy with getting my drops lowered all the frickin' time, every time, and not knowing 3, 2, 1 which one to frickin' hit. That's just a problem I struggle with in Black Ops 3. But I'm over it. We're moving on to grander visions, higher heights, moving on to World War II, a new vision of World War II, and I think Sledgehammer's going to hit it home. The map that you're seeing now, it's Sledgehammer's first map in Exo Zombies called Outbreak. Very little detail put into this, but overall it was still a good starter map. All these come with the starter map, so we'll of course have the introduction map coming into the World War II setting. But something we also got to remember is that Exo Zombies was also made with the capabilities of the Xbox 360. These games with zombies lately, all the way up to Black Ops 3 anyway, have been completely designed to fit the Xbox 360. I guess I could say PS3 as well. You kind of get the picture. The game was developed under restraints. Now that it's going to be completely unleashed, Sledgehammer's taking it to a whole new level. I think we're going to have a social space as well. I'll talk about that in another video coming up. It appears that the co-founders of Sledgehammer Games, Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield, have been traveling all around the world to gather the most accurate information about World War II. Now, the generation that I was born into, we did study a lot of World War II, but we focused mostly on American history. I imagine as we move forward into the future, a lot of you guys that are in high school aren't learning the history that you should be learning. So I think that we're going to learn a lot more about World War II in this game, and that's why I want to press it upon all of you to actually play the campaign. I'm not a big fan of campaigns usually. Ever since Advanced Warfare with Kevin Spacey, I've been a little wary as to like what they're doing with the campaign. In Black Ops 3, I absolutely hated the campaign. It was just complete junk in my opinion, and no offense to you guys that worked on it, it's not your fault. You didn't write it probably, but you had to develop on it. Either way, I didn't like it, and the campaign's something that means a lot to me, especially if the multiplayer specialists, or whatever they're going to do for that, are based off campaign characters. And I think in this World War II setting, we can have some real characters that are based off the campaign. But that's only if they're specialists. I hope there's not specialists since we're going back to World War II. I'd like complete customization. And for the zombies mode, you can make complete customization here as well, which will open up the looting system and make it a lot more fair. So I hope you guys like what I bring to the table. I always got a lot more to talk about because I've actually played these games for years. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my perspective and will consider subscribing. We're looking to a healthy year of 2017-2018 patch notes updates, and I'll have you covered each step of the way. I'll see you in the next video. Viollent out.